My name is Virginia Hammond, and we do have a livestock operation in my husband's family. We're a dairy operation. And it said that Tier 2 should, IDOT should get familiar with the farmers. Shouldn't that have been done in Phase 1? Because they compromised our biosecurity when my father-in-law caught them out driving through our wheat field this spring prior to receiving a letter that was backdated to April 11th and postmarked April 25th, and we didn't receive the letter till April 26th. So the only reason my father-in-law caught him was because he was taking a load of manure out. And they, 2 surveyors who had no disposable footing on, which we are regulated by biosecurity because we are a dairy farm, regulated by the USDA, and they were traipsing around and driving through our wheat field. So he called the Will County Sheriff, and there was an incident report. Don't you think maybe they should have familiarized themselves before they were trespassing on our land? Without permission, they didn't even knock on the door. Just because there's a farm field doesn't mean that that's not somebody's livelihood. Doesn't mean that somebody's not paying cash rent or owns that land, and they should be afforded the courtesy of being told ahead of time that the surveyors are coming out, having an appointment, and if there is livestock and there are biosecurity regulations that have to be utilized, maybe that should have been done before this. But according to the Will County State's Attorney, as property owners in Will County, we have no rights. So, I mean, this is ridiculous. Care to answer that? And then the number that they sent us with the letter on this little piece of paper, it came in the envelope, and it said if we had questions to call this number, you dialed the number and it was a non-working number. You had to go to the website and you had to look up another number. I left Steve Schlick, or however you pronounce the man's name, left him a message and never received a message back. Instead, I get a message back from some guy named Edward Zack, which if you look at the letter, he misrepresented himself 3 times, and he actually works for one of the subcontracting companies. So this is how I got this business? And we're supposed to respect them? They don't respect us? What rights do we have? We pay our mortgages, we pay our taxes, we pay our insurance. We are regulated and have stuff we have to follow, but they don't find out about a farming operation. Oh, it's just green stuff. It was winter wheat. Food doesn't come from the store like you guys think. It comes from the farm. And this is how we put food on our table, and your table, and the world's table. Maybe they should have looked into that before they started Tier 1. Care to answer that? Why we weren't respected? And why our biosecurity was compromised? IDOT? That's a question for IDOT. Why wasn't our biosecurity, why wasn't it checked into what our operation was? It wasn't just a wheat field. It was part of a dairy farm.
Your particular situation, I'm not specifically familiar with what happened there. All I know is any surveyor working on the Illiana Corridor Study has strict rules to go knock and introduce the fact that they're going to be going onto the property. So I don't know who that surveyor was.
They didn't, though, and the only reason we got this letter is because I called Lisa Dugan's office 2 days after the infraction, after my father-in-law, who's also sitting over here, after he called and got the police report filed. I called Lisa Dugan as our state representative. I said, here we go again, Lisa. It's just like the airport footprint. And she said, it's not supposed to be happening. I said, well, guess what? It's too late. Then we get a backdated letter on the 26th that's dated April 11th.
Why would you say it's backdated?
It's postmarked. It's postmarked the 25th. You're telling me it took them 2 weeks to get it from the type stage to the envelope and mail it?
That could very well be the case, yes.
That's pathetic. That is pathetic. And this is almost a month after they trespassed on our land.
And you keep saying
unannounced. They never knocked on the door. There was somebody home.
Who were they? I would argue that, I don't know who they were, so.
They said they were working for you.
I feel like Ms. Thomas had several questions actually.
We can't hear you.
Give her the microphone, please. I don't need one.
This situation regarding the trespassing in the spring, we did obtain a copy of the police report when that was called in. We did check with our survey crews. The Illiana Corridor had no authorized survey crews in the field at that time. And that would also be why you didn't receive a knock on the doors, because they were not authorized to be in the field at that point in time, and because the property entry protocols were not in place at that point.
So,
The issue with the
but they were out there.
So we could have shot him?
Yeah, so, exactly. So we should have shot them? As trespassers?
We followed it, they did okay. The issue, and the Illiana Corridor had no authorized surveyors in the field.
Yet they said they were representing you.
Did they provide you with any type of identification?
Did they,
provide
Bruce?
the sheriff's department with any type of identification?
Did they give you any identification?
Okay.
So how do we know that was your people? Roughly a month ago, when I came up with the data we really needed, I was out mowing my lawn on my property and observed about 12 people on my property just drove up, jumped out of their trucks, got out of my property with their little backpacks on, and took off across my property. So I said, what the heck? Who is this? And obviously I was available because I was in the yard mowing my grass, and it takes about 4 hours, so I was there a long time. So they had plenty of opportunity to approach me. And some people by the name of Illinois Archaeology Survey, and his name was Peter Geraci, not Francis. But they came on my property, and I'm right there, and they could have said, hey, we'd like to come out and look around. But instead, they just trespassed. So, what am I supposed to do about that?
Well, when we sent the property owner letters out in April, this goes back to Ms. Thomas' point. Okay, I'll be happy to give you my card and then we'll get you a letter. The hotline number, there was an issue with the number the first day that it was set up. The number that wasn't in the letter is correct. Our apologies that you didn't call before it was up and working, but it was and is still up and working. We've talked to approximately 120 property owners via the hotline since then. If you have issues like this and you're concerned about things that are happening with the surveyors, please call and let us know what's going on, because we have no way of addressing it if nobody's telling us that it's happening.
They showed up in blue trucks with no markings on them, and hopped out of their little trucks and crossed over my field. They did not have their permission, and I didn't know who the hell they were. And I think I should know who's on my property before they go on.
Absolutely.
Agreed, and
And
that's
you haven't taken yet, so.
correct. That's why the protocols are in place. I don't know exactly where you were on your property, but if you weren't were you near your residence?
Well, there's 80 acres, and there's a house and buildings, and it's attached, and I can see them. I'm sure they could see me. I was riding a great big green John Deere lawnmower. Could have been a secret. They had to drive past my house to get to where they went. You know, so I think I deserve some respect. But those people who come on my property without me, I don't think that's right.
They should be letting you know that they're on your property, particularly if you have a residence nearby.
Peter
or you
Driggs.
have their site.
Those kind of.
We will talk to them about that.